Commanders started off the 2023 season with a lot of potential and hope. Sam Howell came in and was playing really well. But unfortunately, they did not finish strong over the second half of the season and are now picking second overall. They have fired Ron Rivera. And so we're going to break down just the overall 2023 team statistics and some of the players, key players that were mentioned throughout the season, kind of their potential future outcome. Then in the second half of the video, we're going to break down the 2024 offseason, some key free agents, some team needs, and also just kind of what you might be able to expect with their draft picks. So be sure to tune in for the second half of the video. But before we break down their 2023 season, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. Trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the postseason. So any help is much appreciated. Ryan, let's pull up our slides here that we've been working on, our handy dandy slides here. So typically I try and look at some like some overall team stats. Like I think there's some nuance to it, like on if there's a good portion of the team, but maybe there's one weakness to the team that was so bad, like the offense was so bad, that's why the defensive statistics were a little bit higher. I bring that up like we just did the Panthers video. And here I look at the defensive statistics and the overall team statistics, like in sacks as well. As like there's not too much like nuance there.
Yeah.
Offensive line for the Washington Commanders suck. The secondary for Washington Commanders suck. The defense as a whole is not good. Outside of Jonathan Allen, not good at all. And there's a couple other good guys. And Ron Payne, that's fair. And who's the linebacker that I like actually also. So let me rephrase that. Yes. There are some good pieces on the defense. As a whole, though, defense is just not good at all.
No, yeah. And that's, to me, I think this defense, similar to kind of Philadelphia, keep it in the division, is handicapped a little bit by their secondary. I am still puzzled. I know Christian Gonzalez tore his labrum in week 4 and missed the rest of the season, but I am still puzzled that they took Emmanuel Forbes over Christian Gonzalez. And that just does not make any sense to me.
You were proven right, too, because Emmanuel Forbes got burned and got benched, actually. Even throughout the season. And so it's still a work in progress. Absolutely. 100%. But Christian Gonzalez was there. It would have been interesting to see Christian Gonzalez go up against AJ Brown, go up against CD Lamb, because that would have been such an amazing matchup and maybe would have put the Commanders in maybe a little bit more competitive situations. But even then, on top of that as well, watching the Commanders, and when I watched them play against the Cowboys, they did it a couple of times against the Eagles as well. Commanders would come out and probably have they're probably one of the best first quarter teams, I feel, in the NFL. Sam Howell comes out. It would always start hot. It seemed like some flashy plays, and I don't know what it was, but there's always like a turnover. And as soon as that turnover happened, it's like they forgot how to play football, and it was just a big momentum shift and just overall.
One of the things for me is like passing their 18th, but Sam Howell was leading or top 5 in the NFL in passing yards in like week 12 or 13. Like they took a sharp turn for the worst after like the two-thirds the way through the season. And granted, they still had a lot of turnovers in the NFL, or they had 32, 29th in the NFL. But they had a lot of turnovers. But I mean, you have to realize that Sam Howell was basically a rookie. He'd only had one other start besides for the 12 or 13 this season. So he was just more making those silly like rookie style mistakes. And that to me, the fact that it took such a bad turn there at the end is really concerning, because I think it speaks more to just, well, the play on the field got worse. I think people started to really not believe, and I think that kind of started with the trades there at the trade deadline, trading Montez Sweat, trading Chase Young. This team clearly was no longer playing for this season, and I think people kind of quit. So I do feel bad. They have some really good receivers, Terry McLaurin specifically, and he had his 4,000 yard season in a row, out of 4 out of 4, I think, for his career so far, and he's just on such a horrible team.
Now, and just going back to your point though about Sam Howell and just how it was just such a quick drop. He threw for 300 yards against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. He did not break 170 passing yards over the final 5 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And that is where it's just a quick, sharp turn. He got benched twice during that time.
Yeah.
So it just, as a whole, don't know if it was a confidence thing or the offensive line and everybody just stopped playing and just stopped caring. Or if Sam Howell just stopped caring. But he had a full season as a starting QB, and there's plenty of game film out there now if someone wants to take a chance on him. I honestly think he is a good serviceable backup. I was even thinking about this as a Falcons fan, then with Desmond Ridder as well. I was like, all things considered with how this year went for both of them, I love seeing that at least we're going to have a Nick Mullins-esque type backup who can go out and sling it. He knows the offense really well. He's probably going to throw 4 interceptions for probably 1 interception for every 10 passes that he throws. But hey, those 9 passes in between are going to be phenomenal. But in general, though, I agree with you. I think it's going to be an attractive head coach destination, I will say, because you're going to have the number 2 overall pick. So you're guaranteed at least Drake May, Caleb Williams, or Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels for sure, if you really like him. But then you're going to at least guarantee yourself Caleb Williams or Drake May. So you're going to get this stud generational talent in a rookie QB. You've got Terry McLaurin, who is a bona fide stud in the NFL. I think you got pieces that you can kind of go and build around. You got good pieces on the defensive line to build around as well. Let's move on now to kind of what the offseason holds for them. They do have the most cap space, estimated cap space than any other team here. As of January 8th, according to Spot Track, they have $85.2 million in estimated cap space. That number could fluctuate, so depending on when you're watching this video, it'll probably be around that range. Couple key guys that are hitting free agency: Curtis Samuel, Kendall Fuller, Cody Barton, Antonio Gibson, and then Casey Toohill as well. To me, the biggest one is honestly going to be Curtis Samuel, because I think one of the things that was very dynamic about this offense and what will give a rookie quarterback some good success early on is the fact that outside of Terry McLaurin, that you do still have Jahan Dotson, who is, I think, a solid number 2, Curtis Samuel. They're almost your 2A, 2B. And if I go and look at their overall season, Curtis Samuel had 613 yards. Jahan Dotson had 518 yards, 62 catches, 49 catches, respectively. And on top of that, too, you still have Logan Thomas, who he is getting up there in age. He's 32, but still he had just shy of 500 yards and 55 catches. So you have a reliable trio or quadruplet of receivers, if you're including Logan Thomas, that you can go and throw to. I think it's now you're going to have to go and build around the offensive line and the overall protection for him. And that, to me, in my eyes, is the number 1 team need right now is going to be offensive line. Secondary, yes, you can go and get a better secondary, I think, later on and hopefully build it. You can find some guys free agency. But that second pick that they have, the 36th pick overall in the draft, as you can see, and at the bottom we have their draft picks as of right now. I'm not including comp picks. I think that's a clear-cut offensive lineman. I think you go QB, then offensive lineman. Go get him some protection here. So who are some guys that you think for that 36th pick overall is going to be some guys that Washington's going to keep their eye on?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point in the draft, they're going to probably have to move up. I think Amarius Mims, J.C. Latham will be at the back end of the 20s. That I think they could really go out and target. Those are 2 young behemoths of people that I think could really make a difference in this organization. Then I think you start getting into the tackle guard kind of tweeners, where there's like the Jordan Morgans, who I think is a little bit more of a tackle, and then also the Troy Fatanus, Graham Barton, right? Like those guys that played tackle in college, but are more likely to kick inside, but still have some of that in and out flexibility. And then there is a tackle prospect, Patrick Paul, who I think will be in that range of that top end of the second round. He's more of a true left tackle. And he's athletic enough to play at the NFL level. I just think he needs a little bit more refinement than some of the other top prospects in this class. And so it'll be interesting kind of seeing who they go after here. I'm also not certain. Like, I wouldn't be totally surprised if they stuck with Sam Howell and then potentially maybe moved around in the top 8 to maybe target one of the top tackles in that class, in that section of the draft.
Yeah.
Because it is such a big need, and I think thrusting a young player into that mess at 2, and then maybe get a project tackle at 36. I mean, I think you're a lot more likely to miss on 36 on a
Yeah.
tackle taken at 36 than you are elsewhere.
To me, I'm looking at it that you're going to have a new regime coming in. I'm just thinking this is how, because I think you could go, and here I'll even include edge rushers. I have Tankathon up right now. This is where we also get our draft picks as well. I think you're going QB at 2, and then of the 36, 40, 67 picks, I think you could either double up at offensive line there twice, because even in the 67th pick, I think there's going to be some good interior offensive linemen that are going to be like Cooper Beebe, or even then the who's the center from Oregon, Jackson Powers Johnson. I'm pretty sure he's a center, just interior offensive lineman. And then potentially even then with that 40th pick, you maybe could go receiver if you really like a guy, but I actually think that there's going to be some good secondary that's going to be good value there, or even some potential edge rushers like Chris Braswell is going to be there. If you're looking for a corner, Quinton Mitchell from Toledo or Denzel Burke from Ohio State, another Ohio State guy, for going back to the edge rushers, JT Tuimoloau. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
So,
yes, exactly. Jack Sawyer also is another guy I think that's going to be in that range. So I think you get your franchise quarterback. I think the Commander's going to come in 2024 with little to no expectation. We don't want anybody to get hurt. That is the expectations, I feel, for 2024. And just keep building from there and try and build some good young talent. So some much more favorable, I would say, future landscape or future outlook than compared to the Panthers, who should be picking number 1 overall.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's one of the things that leads me to want to take a quarterback in this situation is just the fact that you're at 2, and this is a great quarterback class, and you don't know what the future is going to hold. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, those guys are not next year's class. You aren't sure of anyone really in next year's class if they'll be at that spot, and you don't know if you'll be at that spot. I mean, you could have a little bit of a resurgence, get maybe 7 to 8 wins, and all of a sudden now you're picking at 14, and then you have to pay the King's ransom that the Panthers did last year to get up into the to get the top pick to get your quarterback. So it's going to be interesting kind of watching and seeing the strategy that they take, and to me the dominoes will all start to fall once when they pick their new head coach.
Jim Harbaugh.
Flipping that M upside down. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I, we have a ton of off-season content about to come out. We do have a goal of getting to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the NFL postseason. So if you could help us reach that goal, that would be very much appreciated. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.